Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are breaking down the backbone of Indian democracy by looking at the most essential articles of the Indian Constitution. In today's video, we will discuss important articles of the Indian Constitution along with landmark case laws. This video is extremely useful for law students, judiciary, and anyone who wants a deep understanding of constitutional provisions. Now let's begin. Fundamental rights are enshrined in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. Article 12 to 35 of the Indian Constitution deals with the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution guarantees equality before law and equal protection of laws. This means that law treats everyone equally and no one can go above law. In the landmark case of E.P. Royappa versus State of Tamil Nadu, the Supreme Court held that equality is opposed to arbitrariness. Now, we will see the next article, Article 15. Prohibition of discrimination against religion. Prohibition of discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Now, we will see an important case law on this article. State of Madras versus Champakam Darai Rajan. The court held that caste-based reservation without constitutional backing was invalid. Which later led to constitutional amendments. Now, the next article is Article 16. Article 16 ensures equal opportunity in matters of public employment. In Indra Shawnee versus Union of India, also known as Mandal case, the court upheld OBC reservation but imposed 50% cap on total reservations. Now, the next article is Article 17, Abolition of Untouchability. In People's Union for Democratic Rights versus Union of India, the court emphasized that any practice resembling untouchability is unconstitutional and must be strictly punished. Now, the next article is Article 19. Article 19 provides 6 freedoms, including freedom of speech and expression. In Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, the court clarified that these freedoms are not absolute. these freedoms are not absolute and can be reasonably restricted. But such restrictions must be fair, just, and reasonable. Now, one of the most important article is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Article 21 protects the right to life and personal liberty. In Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, the Supreme Court expanded Article 21 and held that life doesn't mean mere animal existence but includes dignity, privacy, and freedom. Later in Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, the court declared right to privacy as a fundamental right under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. Now we will look at Article 21A, right to education. Right to education is added under 86th Amendment Act 2002. Article 21A provides free and compulsory education. Free and compulsory education to children in Unnikrishnan versus State of Andhra Pradesh. The court recognized education as a part of the right to life, which later resulted in Article 21A being added. Now, the next article is Article 32 of the Indian Constitution. Article 32 of the Indian Constitution allows direct approach to Supreme Court for enforcing fundamental rights, while Article 226 of the Indian Constitution enables the High Court to ensure writs for fundamental rights. Article 32 gives citizens the right to directly approach the Supreme Court for enforcing fundamental rights. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called this article the heart and soul of the Constitution of India. In Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras, the court emphasized that Article 32 is itself a fundamental right. Now, we will see the directive principles of Indian Constitution. Directive principles guide the state in a creating welfare society. They are not. They are non-justiciable. They are non-justiciable. Whereas fundamental rights are justiciable. We will start with Article 40. Article 40 directs the state to organize village panchayats. In state of UP versus Pradhan Sangh, the court highlighted the importance of grassroots democracy. Article 44 of the Indian Constitution talks about uniform civil code. In the famous case of Shahbanu Begum versus Union of India, the Supreme Court strongly recommended implementation of UCC to ensure gender justice. Now, the next article is Article 44 of the Indian Constitution. Article 44 talks about uniform civil code. In the landmark case of Shahbanu Begum versus Union of India, the Supreme Court strongly recommended implementation of UCC to ensure gender justice and equality. Now, look at Article 50, separation of judiciary from execution. Article 50 ensures independence of judiciary. In the state of Bihar versus Bal Mukund Shah, the court stressed that judicial independence is part of basic structure. Is part of basic structure of the Indian Constitution. Now, the next article is Article 51. Article 51 promotes international peace and respect for treaties. Indian courts often rely on international conventions when interpreting fundamental rights. Now, we will dive into fundamental duties. Article 51A lists the duties of citizens. In AIMS Students Union versus AIMS, the court observed that fundamental duties help to interpret fundamental rights. Now we will see Union and State Governments. Part 5 and 6 of the Indian Constitution. Article 72. Article 72 gives pardoning power to the President. Whereas Article 161 gives pardoning power to Governor. In Kehar Singh versus Union of India, the court held that pardoning power is subject to judicial review. Now we will see Article 74. Article 74 makes it mandatory for the President to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. This was clarified in Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab. Now, the most important article is Article 1110. Article 1110 defines money bill. In Roger Matthew versus Matthew versus Union of India, the court warned against misuse of money bill provisions. Now we will see Article 123, Ordinance Making Power. Article 123 allows the President to issue ordinances. In DC Wada versus State of Bihar, the Supreme Court criticized repeated promulgation of ordinances. In DC Wada versus State of Bihar, the Supreme Court criticized repeated repromulgation of ordinances. Now we will see Article 124. Article 124 establishes the Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court advocates on record Association versus Union of India. The court struck down NJAC and upheld judicial independence as basic structure. Now we will look at the emergency provisions. Article 352 of the Indian Constitution provides national emergency. In ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla, the court's decision was later criticized, and after that Article 21 was made non-suspendable during national emergency. Now we will see Article 356 of the Indian Constitution, which provides President's rule in the states. In SR Bombay versus Union of India, the Supreme Court laid down strict limits on misuse of President's rule. Now we will see Article 368, Power of Parliament to amend the Constitution. Article in the famous case of Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, the court introduced basic structure doctrine. Very important. Now we will see Article 1. Article 1 simply represents the territory and formation. Article 1 to 3 represents territory and formation of states. In Berubari Union case, the court explained India's territorial integrity under Article 1, 2, 3. Now we will look at Article 300A, right to property. Article 300A was removed from the fundamental right in 44th Amendment Act. Another article is Article 324, Election Commission. In Mohinder Singh Gill versus Chief Election Commissioner, the court upheld the wide powers of Election Commission. The last article is Article 344, Official Language of the Union. Article 343 declares Hindi as the official language while ensuring continued use of English. Now we will do some MCQs on the fundamental rights. Number 1 is a legislation which confers on the executive or administrative authority an unguided and uncontrolled discretionary power in the matter of the application of law violates which one of the following articles of the Indian Constitution. Your options are Article 14, Article 28, Article 32 and Article 44. So the right answer is Article 14, equality before law. Now the next question is, which one of the following categories of the fundamental rights incorporated against untouchability as a form of discrimination? Your options are right against exploitation, right to freedom, right to constitutional remedies and right to equality. The right answer is answer D, right to equality. Article right to equality, especially under Article 17 of the Constitution, abolishes untouchability. Now the next question is, fundamental rights are number 1 rigid, number 2 justiciable, number 3 flexible, number 4 non-justiciable. Now the answer is fundamental rights are justiciable. Justiciable. Now the next question is, which fundamental right has been abolished by the 44th Amendment Act 1978? Your options are right to life, right to property, right to education, not. The right answer is right to property. Now the next question is, which of the following article of the Indian Constitution guarantees equality before the law and equal protection of laws within the territory of India? Your options are Article 15, Article 14, Article 17 and Article 18. The right answer is Article 14, equality before law. Now, which of the following is correct with respect to right against exploitation? Your options are prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. Number B, freedom as to payment of taxes for the promotion of any particular religion. C, protection of interests of minorities. D, equality before the law. Now, the answer is prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. Right against exploitation guaranteed by Article 23 and 24 of the Indian Constitution. Here are some important facts. Now the last question is, which part of the Indian Constitution contains the fundamental rights? The right answer is Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. So this was a descriptive explanation of important articles of the Indian Constitution with landmark case laws. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.